The story of our encounter with Bailey, the persistent squirrel, started like any other camping trip. We were a group of friends who loved to explore the great outdoors, and we decided to spend a weekend in the mountains, surrounded by nature. Our plan was to hike, camp, and enjoy the scenery, and we were all looking forward to it. When we arrived at the campsite, we quickly set up our tent and started to prepare our lunch. It didn't take long for us to notice that we were not alone in the woods. A big family of squirrels was living nearby, and they were very curious about us. We knew that squirrels could be a bit of a nuisance, but we were prepared for it. We brought enough food for ourselves and our little guests. As soon as we started cooking, we heard noise and saw several squirrels creeping up to us. One of them, a little gray squirrel with a fluffy tail, was particularly persistent. She approached us fearlessly and sat next to us, staring at our food with big, hopeful eyes. We couldn't resist her charm, and we started to feed her and her family. We gave them nuts, fruits, and vegetables, and they seemed to enjoy it. But then, something strange happened. We noticed that Bailey, the little gray squirrel, didn't eat her food. Instead, she took it and ran into the bushes. At first, we thought she was just hiding the food for her offspring, but then we noticed that she kept coming back for more food. It was clear that she wasn't just hoarding it for her family. We were curious about Bailey's behavior, so we decided to keep an eye on her. We watched as she carefully took the food we gave her and ran away with it. It was almost like she was collecting it for a specific purpose. The next morning, when we woke up, we discovered that all our food was gone. At first, we thought it was bears or other wild animals, but then we noticed that Bailey and her family had come to our camp and eaten everything. We were a little embarrassed that we had let them steal our food, but at the same time, we were amazed by how smart and cunning these little animals could be. We decided to try feeding them again, but this time we were more careful. We hid the food in a secure container and watched from a distance as the squirrels came to collect it. Bailey was still persistent and would sit near us, begging for food. But when she realized we weren't going to give her any, she left. We thought that was the end of our encounter with Bailey, but the next day when we returned from our hike, we saw her waiting for us near our car. It was almost like she had been waiting for us to come back. We realized that she had found a way to communicate with us and was counting on our help. We couldn't leave her without food, so we decided to find a compromise solution. We put a special feeder for the squirrels far away from our tent so they could get food without bothering us. Bailey and her family quickly discovered the feeder, and they would come to it every day to collect their food. As the days went by, we started to feel a strong connection to nature and its inhabitants. Our encounter with Bailey and her family had taught us to appreciate even the smallest forms of life on our planet. We realized that these little creatures were not just pests, but they were an essential part of the ecosystem. We were grateful for the opportunity to witness their intelligence and resourcefulness and to learn from them. When it was time to leave the mountains, we said goodbye to Bailey and her family, knowing that we would never forget them. As we drove away, we looked back at the peaceful woods and the memories we had made there. We knew that we would always carry those memories with us and that they would inspire us to be more mindful of our impact on the natural world. The encounter with Bailey and her family had changed us, and we knew that we would be back to the mountains one day to experience the beauty of nature and the animals that call it home. We left with a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to witness the wonders of the world and a newfound respect for the power of nature. As we returned to our busy lives, we promised ourselves that we would never forget the lessons we learned from Bailey and her family. We would carry those lessons with us always and continue to explore and appreciate the beauty of the natural world, one encounter at a time.